and ADHDers experience hyperfocusing on Age of Wonders 4. Age of Wonders 4 is a turn-based fantasy kingdom forging and tactical battle game. You design a fantasy race and its demigod ruler. Choose how and where to develop its cities, what armies to build, and what magic to learn. Then, when it's time to battle, you move your troops and heroes around in a tactical game of placement, target priority, and devastating spells. My experience hyper-focusing on this. I'm a long-time fan, having played the previous 3 Age of Wonders extensively, so when I saw about the release of Age of Wonders 4, I was immediately following its hype train. My trust in the studio was such that it's actually the only game I've ever pre-ordered. As predicted, I have played this one a lot also, occasionally getting bored and moving to different interests, but coming back each time the team updates and improves the game's systems. Ease to get into. It has good visual guides that pop up as you play for the first time. The number of different options, abilities and status effects can certainly be overwhelming, but they are all presented as clearly as possible with helpful hover over pop-ups for anything you could be confused about, and if you play a few small games on easy, you will soon work out how everything works quite intuitively. I'd recommend playing the base game a while before adding the numerous expansion, or the quantity of spells, effects, and units you encounter is likely to be hard to remember the effects of. Cost. As a large game with a whole studio behind it, it's more expensive than my usual indie games. The base game is now frequently on sale at a good price, but beware that if you obsess over it like me, you could end up spending a lot on the large number of expansions available. Also, it is a 3D game with large landscapes and lots of models. Expect to need a powerful computer or subscription to a game streaming service if you want it to look good or run well. If the cost is too much, consider checking out Age of Wonders 1, 2, or 3, which are now cheap with graphics that have aged in mostly charming ways. Their gameplay is just as in-depth, just having less customization options. Fun. Each part of the game is entertaining, immersive, expertly mixing gaming strategy with fantasy roleplay. The race creation allows you to design your race's look, culture, etc. from scratch, making them match your own fantasy race perfectly, engineering them specifically, a particular strategy, or just to be as pretty or hilariously hideous as possible. The strategic map show a beautifully depicted world which offers the measured, constructive pleasure of managing and carefully planning the best organized empire, and watching it evolve as you build cities, provinces, and shape it with spells, while experiencing narrative events that make it feel alive and magical. The combat map, on the other hand, while equally beautiful, offers more violent fun, such as the simple plur of charging zombies so hard the ground shakes, or splattering an enemy dragon over the landscape with a humongous fireball, as well as more thoughtfully destructive fun, such as pulling off a perfect flanking maneuver, or debilitating a powerful hero with just the right combination of curses. Additionally, you get to see your created race visually transform as you infuse them and their weapons with your chosen magics, while at the same time experiencing how this caused their performance on the battlefield to evolve, and tuning your tactics to fit. Great music makes this all feel even more epic. Usefulness. I am not a godlike wizard commanding enchanted legions, so I don't think this will ever help me in real life. Somewhere in the game's devastating magical arms race, and often disturbing racial transformations, there is a moral to be learnt about not losing oneself in the change brought on by ambition and rivalry. Frustrations. The multiplayer remains too unreliable to commit to playing such a long game on, so pulling off the same tricks against the AI again and again can get old. The water combat is very much an afterthought, and looks incredibly dorky, and lacks any significantly different tactics. Most units act almost the same as on land, except for being represented by little tugboats which bob against each other, which is a shame, as the water maps and dedicated water units look amazing. Other than this, the development team is still very active in listening to players and eliminating any issues, which either stop them from recreating whatever fantasy realm is in their head, or which make games repetitive. Some fans of previous Age or Wonders games feel that the customization has gone too far and causes a certain lack of identity, e.g., when an elf or a goblin can both be edited in exactly the same 10 hundreds of ways, it becomes kind of meaningless that you are fighting against elves or goblins. Although once you know what you are doing, the realm and race customization settings let you mitigate this to a large extent. Holding interest. The overall quality is very high, but it's the amount of customization in this game is what truly sets it above all other, somewhat similar turn-based empire-building games. You can craft races that play very differently from each other, or find a preferred play style, and subtly tweak a variety of races to suit it. You can stick to the well-known archetypes such as industrial dwarfs, with crafting magic, who like runes, and quarries, great for slow reliable play, or mix it up like my race of Tyrannosaurus Rex, a race of big, strong and hardy but short-armed lizard people, who use order magic, and are obsessed with enforcing laws, good for conquering an enemy early and efficiently absorbing their race into your empire, or just hit random and craft your imagined backstory and tactics to suit. Every time I end up with someone who looks badass and I want to explore the story and tactics of, such as, this extra large storm giant leading a race of extra small halflings riding celestial dragons. This thing leading a race of bear riding industrious but evil orcs with the power of its ice magic and its shire personality, apparently. Or this makeup plastered monkey queen, whose people are highly cultured, refined artisans, but practice a bit of cannibalism on the side. Game I'm currently playing. I'm currently trying a new build to use a new society trait just added to the game, as well as some I've just unlocked by the game's Pantheon system, which allows you to add additional options and visuals to the game at your own pace. On screen you see my mercenary champion, about to have his ass kicked after charging into a much more powerful Ogre-kin army. Note to self: just because a race has more units mounted allowing you to quickly engage the enemy with an army of tier 1 shieldmen, doesn't mean you should. Recommendation: yes. It's great for fully engaging my imagination and decision-making focus in a satisfying way. My trust in the studio from previous games was such that it's the only game I've ever brought on pre-order, and I've not regretted it. Although it's worth noting that I would have done if I'd brought it primarily for the multiplayer. Moreover, I've not regretted signing up in advance, at a discount, for the DLC seasons, because each new culture, body form, leader, type, society and magic book added to the game can be combined with all the others, so each DLC expands the possibilities exponentially. Thus, even if you're not particularly into the main feature of a DLC, they still massively increase the variety of the game. E.g., I found I wasn't particularly into playing as reveres, but the same DLC also allowed me to make my mystics into parrot people, make gnome crafting dwarfs, and have my forces randomly encounter rogue forges.